today we're going to speak about another heavy-duty subject. Releasing hostages. Is this something the Torah has what to say about? Of course, Torah has what to say about every step of our life. And this is involved with two major discussions. And since I'm only giving short classes here, so I'm going to just mention it and explain it a little bit, give you some insights to each topic, but we're not going to go thorough for that. There's different classes. The main question is, are we allowed to release hostages and to pay for them with extra value, with a lot of money? Yeah, that's question number one, because here it seems like it's not equal. For every Jew they're releasing, we're giving 3 Palestinians. So we pay triple the price. Some sort of, yeah, if we evaluating it person to a person, so we pay triple. That's question number one. Question number two, if we have the choice to release people, but not all of them, who do we choose? Who do we release first? There is any priority, or we leave it up to them, or there is a halacha, which one comes first, which one we're releasing first? So we're just going to touch these two questions, okay? The source of these sugiyot, there's a sugiyah in Masechet Gitin Daf Mem Hey, and over there the Mishnah says, "En podin et hashvuin yoter michdei demehen." In general, the olden days, they took people as hostages, but for financial reasons, which means they wanted money. Those pirates and other kinds of robbers used to take people and sell them as slaves for money purposes. So the rule is, Hazal came up with a rule, do not pay over the value. What's the value? In the olden days, we used to be a slavery market. So you go to the market and you see how much is this person as a slave will be sold for. Don't pay extra his value. Why is that? There are two reasons to the Gemara over there. One reason, we don't want to make the whole public poor for one person. If they're going to come and ask $1 million or $1 billion for each person, everybody has to chip in. People are going to have to start selling their houses, selling their businesses to pay them. Everybody's going to be poor. That's reason number one. Reason number two, we don't want to give them an appetite. They're going to see they can make easy money, big money, easily. They're going to go and give, give their life over to get more people as hostages to get a lot of money. That's an easy income. And it seems like the poskim are ruling like the second reason. We don't want to give them an appetite. Yeah, we don't want to encourage them to do that. If you pay over the value, you're encouraging them. So in our subject, of course, this current situation, they didn't took the people for money purposes, right? They took them for other reasons. And they want their friends to be released from prison. Their friends, their other terrorists, they want them to be released from prison. And if we're going to allow that with a big value, that's going to give them appetite. That's going to encourage them to do it again and again and again. And we see that this is what's really happening, right? Last time they gave for one soldier over 1,000 terrorists. And they say many of them went back to terrorism and they're killing people. Some of them were part of this massacre on October 7. And I think they said even Sanwar, this שם רשעים ירכב, ימח שמו וזכרו, יחיה סנואר, אסור להזכיר את השם שלו בית הכנסת, אבל שהשם ימח שמו וזכרו. So he was released also as part of this deal. That's what people say. Okay, so that's devastating. Look what happened. We released so many and look at the outcome. So that's a heavy price, right? So that's the discussion number one. Discussion number two, let me first give you a nice story about it. It's a beautiful story mentioned in the Gemara, Gitin Daf Nun Het. That was after the destruction of first Beit HaMikdash, the second Beit HaMikdash. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Hananiah went to Rome, one of the big cities in Rome, and people told him there is a Jewish child in captives here. and he's such a good child, a beautiful child, beautiful eyes, יפה עיניים, עם טוב רואי, וקבוצותיו סדורות לו טלטלים. Basically, he's a tzaddik also, and he knows Torah, and they're holding him and he's in danger. So he said, I'm going to go check into him. He went behind prison, where he was held, and he said the pasuk, Mi natan, half a pasuk he said, Mi natan im shisa Yaakov, Yisrael evozizim. Who allowed to come and destroy and kill so many Jewish people? Yeah? So this child answered him, הלא השם זוכתנו לו, ולא אהבו לשמוע בקולו, ולא אהבו ללכת בדרכיו ולשמוע בתורתו. The child basically answered, it's our fault. We did not follow Hashem, we didn't listen to Hashem, and that's what happened to us. So Rabbi Yeshua said, ובטחני בו, שיהיה מורה הוראות בישראל. I'm sure he's going to be a big ruler, he's going to be a big leader, a big tzaddik in Am Yisrael. One of the giants. העבודה שאני זז מפה עד שאני פודה אותו בכל ממון שבעולם. I will pay any money for him to release him from captive. And he paid a lot of money. And he took him out. And in the end, he became Rabbi Ishmael ben Elisha, one of the big giants of our generations. So the poskim, the Rishonim, are asking the question. The Mishnah says in Daf Mem Hey, don't pay over the value. And here he paid a lot. Mamon harbe. He paid over the value with a lot of money. How come he did that? So they gave two answers. One answer was, why are we not paying him a lot? Not to give them the encouragement to do it more and more. At that time, after the destruction, everybody was in captive, everybody was hostages or got killed. There's nowhere to take. There's no one to take anymore. So it's not encouraging them to take others. That's answer number one. Answer number two, he is such a sharp child. He realized that he has such a big potential to be a great leader in Am Yisrael. For that, you're allowed to do it. For someone big like that, that's a big investment. You're allowed to do it. But there's a third answer also. Mentioned in Tzafod Daf Nun Het. When there is a life risk, that's a whole different story. And this child was at life risk. The whole discussion, don't pay extra, it's a financials. Okay, that's you negotiate and you pay, and eventually you're going to pay the right price. You be a tough negotiator. But here, this child was at a life risk. If he was not releasing him, they will kill him. Oh, so here we found a source to allow to pay over the value if we see people are in life threat. And these hostages held by this Hamas massacres, they for sure in the life threat, right? Their life is in danger. So we see there is a source here. That's the beginning of the sugya. Of course, as I said, we're not going to go through the whole sugya. It's actually a mahloket between Ramban and Meiri. Ramban says even for a life risk, you don't pay extra the value. Meiri says you do. And the poskim takes it from there and discuss it further until they conclude that yes, we are allowed to release hostages to pay over the value. And even if we are releasing potential terrorists, since these people are an immediate life threat, and these terrorists might going to cause life threat, it's not a guarantee. So, en safek motzim midei vadai. There is a whole tshuva in Yabi'a Omer by Maran Rabbeinu Ovadia Yosef, the giant ruler of our generation. In Chelek Yud, Hoshe Mishpat Siman Vav, he talks about Mivtza Entebbe, the Entebbe operation. You remember the story of Entebbe? They kidnapped an airplane. They hijacked an airplane. Air France. That was an airplane that was supposed to go from France to Israel. They hijacked the airplane with a few hundred passengers, but 100 Jewish people on the airplane. And they flew the airplane to Uganda. And back then, the president of Uganda was Idi Amin, was a crazy lunatic person. He hosted the terrorists with the airplane with the hostages. And the Israeli army sent airplanes to Uganda, and they surprised them by surprise. And they fought, they killed the terrorists, and they released the hostages. And they brought them back to Israel. But the process of all this took a few days. They were negotiating to release, they wanted 40 terrorists to be released from the prison. 40 terrorists for 100 Israelis. And Rabin was the prime minister. He came to Rav Ovadia and he asked him if he's allowed to do it. And Rav Ovadia was sitting together with a group of big rabbanim, Harav Yitzchak, Harav Yitzchak, Harav Mציון Abba Shaul, Harav Zolti, Harav Goldschmidt, Harav Yisraeli, another Harav Yisraeli. Yeah? Yeah? I was a student, I wasn't, yeah, they were sitting together and deliberating this issue, and they concluded, yes, they're allowed to release the prisoners in order to get the hostages back. Okay, in the middle of their meeting, the prime minister came in and gave them the good news that they managed to fight and to get the hostages back, and they don't need to release any terrorists. That was big news. The whole world talked about it. I think they did movies on that. You guys didn't see the movie? Yeah. You see? You saw the movie? You saw the movie. Okay. There is a whole movie about Mivtza Entebbe operation. There is an Israeli version. There is an American version to it. Okay. That's topic number one. Let's touch topic number two. Is there any priorities? If we have to choose, it's not up to us. We can't release all of them. We must make a choice. Are we making a choice? Do we tell him who to release first? So that's another sugya discussed in the Masechet Orayot. In the end of Masechet Orayot, the last daf Yud Gimel. Over there, that's the sugya of these priorities. And yes, there are priorities. And the conclusion of the sugya is also in Shulchan Aruch Siman Resh Nun Bet, and some of it is in the beginning of Siman Resh Nun Aleph in Yoreh De'ah. And mainly I'm going to say like this. Women come first. Women before men. And Kohen before Levi. And Levi before Israel. Yeah, the same as in Sefer Torah, we give the Kohen the first honor, and then Levi and then Israel. Also in this case, goes by the same order. But women first. Why women first? Because they are much at risk than men. And in this case, soldiers should be also first. Why soldiers? Because we sent them. They are our messengers to be there, to fight, to protect us. So if we send someone, we're responsible for him. So we are obligated to release the soldiers. So they come first on the list. Children also come first on the list. Because they're tzaddikim, innocent, they didn't commit any avera, any sin, nothing. Pure tzaddikim, yeladim, tinokot shenishbu. So yes, there is priorities. As I said, I'm just touching it. I'm not giving the whole sugya and all the details of the sugya. And our prayers are for all these hostages to be released very soon. Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, His podeh u'matzil. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is releasing שבויים. יתקיים בהם הפסוק, יוציאם מחושך וצל מוות ומסירותיהם ינתק. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take him out of this darkness, will bring him back to freedom, back to their families. לחיים טובים ולשלום, and Hashem יתברך will send רפואה שלמה to all those who got injured, all the פצועים. They are physical injured and they are mental injured. To all of them, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will destroy our enemies. HaKadosh Baruch Hu יאבד וישמיד כל הקמים עלינו לרעה. שלח לנו משיח צדקנו, ויגלנו גאולה שלמה ברחמים מרובים. נזכה כולנו לראות את משיח צדקנו, בניין בית המקדש, ייבנה במהרה בימינו, אמן ואמן.